Good morning and welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Pace, your host. And I know that many of you are experiencing some troubled times with an agency called CPS. We're here to talk about CPS, fight CPS, and have them stop taking our children and get our children back. It's the most horrific government agency that I can think of right now that has just gone unchecked, unmonitored. I know so many of you experience so much. Now, this show is produced by Vincent W. Davis and Associates. It's a law firm in Southern California. And it has many attorneys to fight all kinds of different areas of law. You name it, we have it. Also, we have an attorney that's very specialized in dependency law and family law, juvenile law. And one of my rules is that you should always have an attorney. Why I state that you should have an attorney is because you are dealing with the entity that will traffic your children, alienate you from your children, and will use deception tactics and lie and will not give back your children. Their sole purpose is to make money. It's $1 billion business. It's not supposed to be that. It's a government agency that by law is supposed to protect the children from neglect and abuse and family reunification, meaning the family is important. The family is important. And I can't emphasize enough because it seems like all these shows I talk to people and I have guests on the shows, they just don't care about the family. They want to destroy the family. And they usually attack, and I hate to say this, is low income people who can't afford an attorney, people that maybe are homeless, people that are down and out. And I understand it's certain as set a pattern that they prey on individuals. And last night it really sunk in because for the first time we had a military CPS issue. Now I never had much, didn't think the military, had CPS, but they have their own CPS. And this poor gentleman spilled everything. He's a veteran. He served our country. He was just a medic in the military. And he went through horrific times with his first wife. And he tried to tell my story. And it was horrific. It was so bad. And I didn't know the aspects of the military. It seems like these social workers have their mind made up that all fathers are bad. Now, he was calling from Minnesota, and they say as soon as a father is involved, they're labeled to be bad. It took me, he didn't really quite finish the story, but it took him almost a whole hour to narrate and tell you about what he had to go through and how he was humiliated by his wife and how CPS took advantage of him. And the military CPS. You see, that's an area that we forget about, but we have a military that serves our country. This guy was overseas when his wife was abusing his children. And he was requested to come home right away, and he comes right home, and they treat him bad. They treat them so bad. Anyway, there's many facets of child protection services. That's what CPS stands for, Child Protection Services. It's a branch of social services. It's where you take care of your needs, people's needs. If you're in trouble, if you're low on food, you need medical, they're an age they can help you out there. And they're supposed to be entrusted to watch their kids, but instead they child trafficking. And what I mean by child trafficking is that they remove the children right away. Not if they're in imminent danger, they move them right away. And they put them right in foster care. No shelter, no group home, no in-laws or other family members that they could stay with. No biological father or mother or whatever. They just arbitrarily just put them into foster care. I cannot believe how many stories, over 100 of them, where they have misused their power, used the police as a shield, used the police for intimidation. It's not a friendly agency. Now, my show is a user-friendly podcast. I really appreciate you can write in some comments. Let me see here. Good morning, Faye. I'm so glad you came in. I'm sorry I couldn't talk to you last night. We have someone here, Colette Lopes. And thank you, Colette. I don't know what state you're from, but I appreciate that, Colette. I agree, Colette. And Daniel Vaughn, it's good to see you again. I'm great, Daniel. I was just talking about one of the ways to interact, and a lot of you are making comments already, which is good. The comments are much appreciated. All I ask if you want to make comments is you give your name, which you are, and the city and the state you're from. Now, I know that Faye, who's been on many times, is from Kentucky. And so she's been on there before. Colette, those are nice words to say. I don't know how else to explain it to you because I too was in a CPS matter myself. I've been there. I've been in the trenches. I'm relating my experiences of what I experienced. And it seems like all across the country, I've seen the similar experiences. Now, I've had a comment from Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, and Ghana. I've had those comments. It's okay for international people to be involved. You found us on Facebook, and CPS is a worldwide problem as well as in the U.S. And I really feel for you out there. I wish I could do something to make it go away or get better, but all I can do is help you, give you my experiences, and give you leads to help you go through the process. Now, Lori Vaughn is saying something now. She says, my daughter was moved only 3 days after my initial meeting with CPS and right into a foster home. Now the judge says to transition her home to me and CPS move her further away to the second foster home. They were told me they could adopt her. See, that's the typical MO of CPS. They do child trafficking. You see, when they come into your home, and you don't have to, you don't need to let them in your home. You don't even have to speak to social workers or policemen. They have to have a warrant, but even still, they somehow convince you to let them in or take your child. They're hoping to trick you because you don't have an attorney, which you should do the first time you get contacted by CPS. You need to tell them that you have an attorney, that wants to talk to you, get their name, get their business card, and get back to them. But don't let them in the home because they'll use what they see in the home against you. Just say yes, no, answers be pleasant, but tell them that you need to talk to your attorney. It's your constitutional right to be represented by an attorney. You have to emphasize that. If they break that, they're open to a lawsuit. And so far, CPS says, well, the attorneys won't sue me. They think they have a handle on everything. They really do. I agree, Lauren. I agree. Yeah, it could be that. There could be all the HIPAA violations and so forth. I agree with that. Faye was a former fostered kid, and she's experiencing problems and stuff. And Daniel, you're from Georgia. Glad to have you again. I want to know what your CPS matter is, Daniel. And Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky. I'm very fine today. Thank you so much. I may have gotten away from where I was going, my train of thought. We were talking about comments and putting comments in, and a lot of you are doing that. If you want to be a guest on my show right now and talk, I'd love you to call in to 625-698-0990. That's 626-698-0990. That will ring my work phone, and I'll answer it during the times that I'm on. Now, I'm on this podcast 14 times a week, 7 days a week, one time at 10 o'clock in the morning for 1 hour, and at 7 p.m. for 1 hour, and that's all Pacific Standard Time. So I'm on a lot. And we had a guest last night, the military medic guy last night. His name was John. Well, his last name is a hard name to pronounce, but he was John. And he was excellent. So if any of you want to be on the show, you can do so. Now, if you can't be on the show, you don't want to be on the show, but you want to be at a later time, you can email my producer. And I'm really thankful to have my producer because she does a great job. Grace is the one that arranges all these guest speakers for me and helps me out everywhere I need it. So you can write her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. Tell her that you want to be on what show, a morning show, an evening show, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, and she'll get you on there and get you set up to go. So that's grace@vincentwdavis.com. Now, let's see. Daniel said here, good. Daniel's going to call in a little bit. Good. Now, I was talking about rule number 1. What I call rule number 1 is an attorney. And I mentioned our attorney here at the law firm is Vincent W. Davis. He is a family law attorney. He's a dependency law attorney. He's a juvenile attorney. He knows all about how to fight CPS and get your kids back. He's sued CPS. He's not afraid to take them on for your constitutional rights or your civil rights. All you have to do to talk to him is call in at 888-888-6582. Right now, he has a 30-minute special where it's $49.99 to talk to him, and he talk about the strategies of how to get your kids back and how to fight CPS. That's 888-888-6582. When you call in, tell him that Bob Pace sent you, and when you talk to Mr. Davis, say that Bob Pace sent you. And he'll do 30 minutes of consultation for $49.99. That's $50. And after you talk to him, you may want to retain him, and you'll discuss about his retainer. but it's well worth it because if you're going to have open heart surgery, you're not going to have a layman do it. You're not going to do it yourself. You're going to have a professional, someone that's gone to school and educated, they've gone through an internship, and then has done further work following a mentor to be a doctor. Well, the same thing is applicable here. You'll find that CPS is a nightmare. It's like Alice in Wonderland. You fall in the hole, and there's so many different doors to choose from. There's so many things you get tangled up. It's a spaghetti mess. It's a spider weaving a web, and they do not like parents. They're not parent friendly. Their first thing is, how do I get money from this family? And how do I get them in foster care? The reason why they strive for foster care, it's really easy to put them in there because they're set up. Plus, if they keep them in there, they'll hope they get adopted, and then they'll keep paying these kids, not kids, but be paying CPS $20,000 a month for each child they have in custody. It's $1 billion business. I know this from firsthand experience because my case was in Southern California, Orange County. And that is the place that is strictly for money. I met the top dog, the director. I tried to file complaints. I tried to fight him myself. I'm intelligent. I can write, but it seemed to make it worse. And when I did meet with the director, he did meet with me when I assisted. He was in the Taj Mahal of a building. It was like the Emerald City in Wizard of Oz. It was real gaudy. He was real gaudy. He had gold that would tip him over around his neck. His supervisors, everybody was just going through one ear, going out the other ear. They listened, but they did nothing. It's a waste of time trying to fight them. You need an attorney. That's why I say it, rule number 1, you need to get an attorney. Because the attorney you think you're going to get when you go to court is a public defender. And that attorney is strictly got a caseload of 20 or some people, plus he's in friends with the court. The court's the kangaroo court. Okay, we got somebody calling in. Good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning. Who's this?
Hey, Bob.
Hi there.
How are you?
Pretty good. Who is this?
Danielle.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Danielle. Yeah, you're going to say you're going to call in there. I just want to make sure it's you, Danielle. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
And right now you're being broadcast live. I know she's from Acworth, Georgia. I have no idea where Acworth, Georgia is, but is it near?
45 minutes north of Atlanta.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad you called. I think you were on last night, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've listened to my...
I was. I've been on a couple times.
Okay, so you listened to my show, and hopefully I'm able to help you out with some things.
Yeah. My situation is, it was, I've never had to deal with these guys before, and my son, okay, so can you hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you fine. I hear you fine, and you're doing great.
Okay, good. Okay. So in 2011, I had gotten into some trouble, and I asked my family for help to keep them my kids out of the state's hands, and we all agreed upon it, and my kids went to stay with 3 different relatives, right? So we went to court, and we did like the guardianship, like the temporary guardianship. And we all decided that we had everything planned out before we even went in front of the court, because I knew I was going to prison for a couple, like it was about a year. So, needless to say, we went to court with the juvenile judge, and we agreed that my kids would be placed with each relative. And I have 3. I have a boy that is special needs. He's autistic and ADHD. He's my oldest, and then I have 2 girls.
Okay.
They're now 16 and 15.
Okay.
My son's 18. All right. So they, and my son, we went in front of the judge, and we had already agreed that they were going to that they would stay with these family members even up until they're 18, because that was home to them, But I would be in their life that I would be the mother that I'm supposed to be, because that's my duty and my responsibility upon my release. And the judge granted the guardianship to the family members, and I still had my rights. And he said he left it up to me and the family to decide on visiting and everything upon my release, child support, all that stuff. Well, and he said, and he even stated back in 2011 that there was no reason for DFACS, we called it DFCS down here, for them to be involved. He said because he sees that we already have everything together, and we've seemed like a close-knit family. So case closed pretty much. So over the years, the kids were with my family members, and I was in their lives, and everything was going fine. Well, my mom in 2022, September 17th, my mother passed away unexpectedly. My mother had guardianship of my son. Well, little did I know that my aunt, which is the one over my daughter, my 16-year-old daughter, when I showed up at my parents' house, she drugged my son out of the house and was mad that I was there because I went to get my son. I mean, he didn't have a caregiver, it was me. And she kept him from me and told, and not even a month later, she kept him from me, and a month later, she handed him to the state of Georgia, the department, and told them that I abandoned my kid, and all based on lies, that I abandoned my kids 10 years ago. She didn't know where I was, and I take care of my special needs brother. He's 37, so my son was put into foster care pretty much. There was no backup, no background information, nothing on him. My aunt just threw him, and she locked them to get her way, because she wanted me out of the picture for some reason. And so now my son, so they couldn't, I was looking for my son and looking. Well, finally, I got a Facebook message from a DFACS worker and told me to contact them. Then nobody would tell me where my kid is, nothing. Well, then my aunt had me incarcerated because I had to leave the state to go get my brother in Florida for there was a hurricane coming. So needless to say, I got locked up for 60 days there. So this whole time they're I never got notified. They're saying that they removed him from my house when he wasn't. He got put into foster care in November, and then they had a disposition and all that in December. Well, then in February, I get out January 27th or 24th. February 6th, I go to court, and they pretty much tell me that I ain't got no say, that he's going to there was no placement in Georgia. He's going to Texas, and he's been out there ever since. And I've been fighting, and they have not. It's just a crazy situation because they didn't. There was family, there was relatives that would take my son, because now all of a sudden, my aunt and my uncle are stepping up to help me get him, because they're trying to do some crazy things, and there's I don't know if you've ever heard of nunc pro tunc.
No, I haven't.
Court order.
What's it called?
That's a nunc pro tunc. It's like a now before then, or then before now. It's like something that they could say that happened now, but they can backdate it. And,
okay.
And really, it's pretty much, in my eyes, and what I've been told, it's pretty much them saying that they screwed up, and they're trying to fix judicial error, and that's messed up, because and that's a lot on my court orders, but there's a lot of open ends to this, and I thought they were supposed to provide services and reunify, and I didn't get, they have not included me in nothing, and everything, and now here we are. They say that they offered me services. They never did. They never gave me a chance. I was the appropriate placement. They never assessed my home. They never did nothing. But at the end of the day, why are they saying they removed him from my care when he was not in my home?
Now, at the very beginning, if you could go back to the beginning, Danielle, what were the allegations at the very beginning when they were investigating you?
At the very before he got put in the foster care, or
Yeah,
2011.
when CPS contacted you, what were the allegations?
They said that it's a dependency case, proceeding, but they said that it's because he was without a caregiver or without a legal caregiver, and
That was based on your son. The CPS said they had someone call in. Do you know who it was that called in that made the allegation?
My aunt, she's trying to base it on what she did was my mom died and she took my son away from the house where I could not get him because he was living with my parents, my mom and dad, and my mom had guardianship over him. Well, she died unexpectedly, and for the original guardianship order, I should have been back at the courthouse with him that Monday, and to get custody, to transfer it over, to let the courts know. But my aunt went in and interfered with that and took my son and hid him out from me, and then called the state or called CPS and made I guess a complaint. And I don't know what I haven't got that yet. I don't know what she said.
Well, do you have a copy? Do you have a copy of the paperwork that shows that your mom had guardianship of your son?
Yes.
Now, have you tried to show that? Have you tried to show that to the judge?
Yes.
And what did the judge say? What did the judge say?
He didn't say nothing. They pretty much shut. He didn't say nothing. He pretty much just looked over it. Because my lawyer, this is where I got screwed over, was my court appointed attorney, which I didn't ask for. They went ahead and appointed this attorney. She did not submit nothing on the record for me as far as evidence.
Well, did you ask her when you found out she didn't? Do you ask her to send in the copy of the custody to the judge? You asked your court appointed attorney.
I've asked her to. Yeah, I've asked her to. What is she gonna send in? What can we send in? Has she sent in this? And I even gave her papers to send, paperwork to send in, a statement of facts, statement of truth. What is it? An affidavit of facts or truth? I mean, I had everything. I'm the one that gave them the information about my son.
Yeah.
They didn't know nothing. But my thing is if if they're supposed to diligently search for family or, because the paperwork, the protective custody petition or whatever, says that they failed to make reasonable efforts, whatever that means. I mean, my lawyer told me that there was no appeal, nothing, and I'm like, but he's 18 now, and they sent him to Texas. The whole mess is they got a kid that they seen that considered an orphan because they didn't know nothing about him, but he had no parents supposedly, at the beginning, and I was right here the whole time. But my aunt that has my daughter, she wants me out of the picture because all she's seen with my family was money, and she even just put it like this: the same aunt has my daughter, and I have child support that I pay on my daughter. Well, come to find out, on guardianship, I thought that they were supposed to annually keep the court updated with a personal status report. She hasn't did that in 3 or 4 years. And I don't see how she can have say in any of this, but that's where they're trying to cover their butt. And it's just a bit, if I can get someone to sit down and look, it's hard to explain. You have to sit down and look at the paperwork,
Well, the thing is, here is your problem. You're trying to fight this case without a professional attorney. It sounds like the public defender doesn't care, which typically is true. Now, you can go to the public defender's office and ask for a replacement. And by law,
well, she's off the case now because now it's in. Since he's 18, he's in probate. We're going for adult guardianship now. I mean, he's coming home. Are you still there?
Yeah, I am.
I thought I lost you. I'm sorry.
No, adult guardianship.
Yeah, I have to do, since he's 18 and he's autistic and ADHD, I have to apply for adult guardianship. But the thing is, now, let me tell you, they did the home assessment and stuff at my aunt's house. Well, me and my aunt were supposed to go apply for the guardianship today, but now DBHDD, which is Department of Behavioral Health or what, since he's an adult, they applied last year in June for adult guardianship, but probate did not grant it. They left it open this whole time. And now that I told them about my family, I said, my aunt and uncle stepped up. Everything that they should have did for me, they're doing for my aunt now. Like, I mean, everything has went so good with her, and I'm like, this is crazy. But they could have prevented foster care if they would have did what they're supposed to be trained to do.
Right.
And I've been like, I started parenting classes, and I did parenting classes on my own. I'm doing them on my own. Like, I'm doing them but it's just now that he's an adult, it's under a different, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird.
Did he ever finish high school? Did he ever finish high school?
No.
Your son?
He's still in high school. He's in the junior. I think he's a junior. He is a junior.
All right.
And he will, yeah. But and it's just, I just don't get how on the original order, my court appointed attorney really got me. Like, because I mean, everything that's on the adjudication and disposition, I've done. I've resolved my criminal issues, which means I'm in compliance with probation. I've maintained stable housing. I've had a place for 5 years. I've maintained stable employment. I've had that for 2 years, and I had it way before all this was started, And what else did they say? They said cooperate with my son's mental health and the IEPs and everything. They don't include me. You know what they tell me? I get messages saying, "Oh, well, we'll send you the link. We'll update you." They don't send me nothing. They just give me the runaround, and that's what they're still doing.
Wow.
So it's a big. What it is they know they've messed up, and I just gotta know.
And have you tried to talk? Have you tried to talk to any attorney that can help you with this?
I've talked to some, but I haven't really got to, because my case. I hear other people's cases, and when they deal with CFAX or CPS, their case they got a plan. But with me, what's weird is mine went so fast. And for me not to ever, I don't even know where I don't even know what the allegations could be. I mean, I could read. Hold on, I'll get my notebook because I got everything in a notebook.
Good.
Even on the petition.
Good, you're doing my rule number 2. You're doing my rule number 2, a notebook. Good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I've even learned their the CFAXs, the state's policies and procedures of what they're supposed to do in different situations, like in dependency proceedings and everything. And I'm telling you, they have not did nothing hardly that's in what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to exhaust all reasonable efforts and all this. No. Let's see.
The reason why they have you is because you don't have representation. They're taking advantage of you. And they're also taking advantage of you because you said you went to prison. What did you go to prison for?
Forgery, but that was in 2011.
I understand. You did something wrong. Okay. Forgery. I'm just trying to idea. So forgery, that is against the law, but you went ahead and paid your penalty for it, and you've rejuvenated yourself. You should have all entitled to your children. You should be eligible to custody. And you tell me your aunt and uncle help you. Was that another aunt that was bad to you? Was there 2 aunts involved in this?
There's 2. My first, the one that did all this, that's the bad one. The one that is my son is more than likely coming home by Easter, but I just don't like how they did us. And my son, but yeah, that aunt, the second aunt, she's good.
All right, so you have a bad aunt and a good aunt. Okay, I thought they're the same. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
because my
So what does the bad
yeah,
aunt?
and the
What does the
crazy thing
bad
is,
aunt want? What does the bad aunt want?
me out of the picture. She wants me to lose my rights and be out of the picture and not have. It's,
Okay,
when it
and
comes down to
is
it,
that still today how she feels?
yes, yes, because she's got my daughter, and I've even reached out through a mediation thing called 4 Points, where I go to parenting class for my daughter, because this is a whole nother ballgame, just to try to get visitation and stuff to my girls. And and it's all free, and it's voluntary. It's not by the court. And, my aunt said she wants nothing to do with me, and she wants nothing. She's not even going to try to. But, I mean, it's that now. It's going to look bad on her in court, though, because she's not trying. Because that's, like, totally isolating me and when I'm trying,
Yeah.
She is not letting, I mean, and she's the one that's isolating me from my daughter. I can tell you everything about my son. I've been in his life. I mean, Special Olympics, everything. The boy has been. That's my little partner in crime. He's my best friend. And for him to be thrown, like, I hate to say it like this, thrown away by his own like family that even my dad. I can't believe my dad. Him and my dad were close. Like my dad was a father figure, and for me to, I looked at my dad that day and I'm like, what? Like, I had just walked in the house and I see my son drug out. I didn't know what to do. And, she threatened me. What am I supposed to? I just lost my mom, and I wasn't expecting that, but I definitely wasn't expecting my father to let his, because I'm on, I couldn't, the old me would have wanted to do something horrible, like,
Yeah.
hurt her, but I know I can't do that. And I just can't believe that, because it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Well,
I don't.
do you have a game plan? What is your game plan now?
Well, the game, we are in the process of getting him home. He is coming home, but the thing is there now is, okay, so they want my aunt to do guardianship, so they're still wanting me, in my eyes, they're still wanting me out of the picture. They don't contact me back or nothing. Like I told you, they've been giving me, there's only one case order that talks to me very seldomly. It's like they've totally shut me out, because remember, my son's 18. But
right.
I have them on a recording with my aunt on a phone call, and she even asked what's up with the mom, and they said, well, we can't and we can't say we can't say no or something like that. But I have it recorded where they said that they think that it needs to be supervised, and I'm like, what? Like they're still against me totally.
Yeah.
And they want my aunt to be with them, and that's what I'm trying to get my aunt to understand, because I have them also on recording. My son's been abused since he's been out there at that facility.
I know he has been. Yes.
Attacked by another. Huh?
I know he has. I know from experience your son's been abused.
Yeah, and I have that on video. Like, while I'm on a video visit one night, because I'm in Georgia, he's in Texas, and on a video visit one night, at the last, I was telling him good night, and another kid or adult attacked him naked. The boy was naked, and you can tell. There's been plenty of times that my son, he's biting his nails, and he just looks, and he'll tell, and somebody will walk by him, and he'll go, "Leave me the hell alone." And my son don't cuss. My son is not a hellion. He's not a bad. He's a very sweet boy. He don't bother nobody, and it's just a nightmare I wouldn't want any parent to go through. Especially after losing a relative. I just lost my mom. I wasn't expecting this to happen, especially, this is something that I asked my family for help to keep them out of the state's hands, and you see what I got. Because I was supposed to get my son. If something was to ever happen to my family, each family member, I would get my kids.
Okay.
And,
Daniel, can we pause for a second? I have people that come in and want to do it quickly. Okay, the ones that are just commenting, Jessica, hi. I'd like to know what state you are in. And I've already said hi to Faye and Lauren and the other people. make sure if you want to be on my show as a guest that you email Grace at VincentWDavis.com. That's Grace at VincentDavies.com. She'll put you in touch with the show her there. So if you call in there, I'm not trying to ignore you, but right now we have on the show we have Danielle Juan from Alabama, and
Akron, Georgia.
I'm sorry, Akron, Georgia. Why am I saying Alabama? Okay. Yeah, Akron, Georgia.
Because probably I want to go on vacation.
Anyway, she has a really sad case because she's trying to get back her son and her daughter that are illegally taken by her bad aunt. She has two aunts, a good aunt and a bad aunt, and the bad aunt has taken her children, made her life miserable. She did have to go to jail for forgery, but she's got that cleared up. That was a long time ago, and she should have all rights to take care of her son who has ADH. He's 18 though, and so it's a different jurisdiction courts, but she wants to take care of him. She also wants her daughter back. Her daughter, I think, is 16 now.
I have a 16 and a
15-year-old. Which one is the one you want back?
Either one, both of them.
Oh, you want both of them. So you want your 15 and 16-year-old back. You want your family back together. And do you have a nice home for them?
I want to be in my girl's life.
Right. Do they have do you have a nice home for them to live in?
Oh yeah.
And you have a job, right? You have a job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so all you listeners out there, here's a woman that has a job. She's done her debt to society. She has a home. She just wants her family together. Now, where's the biological father? Has he been involved at all?
Okay, so there's two dads. I have two with one man and one with another man. The one that has one with me, he is involved, but that's the one that's with the bad aunt. That daughter, he's a good father. He is, but he has never been, like, over the years, like, me and him talked, but he's been involved, but he's had to love his kid from a distance type. He didn't want to cause no problems or nothing, as, you know, with the family or with that aunt, because that's how much, I guess, she would pitch a fit. Like, not my kid, my aunt, because I'll tell you about an episode. My mom and my nanny invited me over to the house one day for a surprise. Well, they were babysitting my 16-year-old, which she was this was 2017, and they wanted to surprise her with me and her Uncle Jay, right, which is my brother, the one I take care of that's disabled.
Right.
And we went over, and I didn't know, and they were going to surprise both of us, and I'm like, okay, you know, I didn't know what was, but she said, my mom said, come over here after work. Oh, okay, Mom, like, that's cool. Well, I show up right there, me and my brother do, and, you know, my son's freaking out. He's glad to see me. And do you know, my daughter has got hysterical. Oh, my mom, I love you, but if she's going to be mad at me if I talk to you. I said, my mom got so upset. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I mean, I don't know I don't want to make her mad. And my daughter was so hysterical and afraid, and so my mom took her out on the porch, and then next thing you know, my aunt showed up, and she was pissed, and she was like, and my mom went off on her. But for my daughter, I mean, that's crazy. That's so I don't know what she's done to this child. My daughter's lived a material life with my aunt. She's tried to. I mean, you got to think, this is an aunt that lost her youngest to the dad. She's been married like 5-6 times. You know, I don't know what it is about her. I mean, that she's so. I don't know. I say jealousy, or I don't know, but what's there to be jealous of? I mean, I don't know. But my daughter, that was like, my mom was so shocked. My mom didn't know what to say when my daughter acted out like that. Like, wow. And boy, my mom was not a happy camper. And that's, yeah.
Well,
There's
I'm
no telling
sorry that
what
your
my
mom.
aunt was telling
I'm
me about
sorry that your mom passed away. It seemed like she really cared about your
it.
kids. And
She's the reason why. She's the big reason. Her and my nanny. Like, I'll tell you the storyline behind my son. My son's been in my nanny's hands since he was born. Okay, but I've had custody of him, but I never like. Pretty much, my nanny had him since birth because my papa was like my best friend, you know, and all he wanted to see was my son be born and meet my son. And he died 2 months before he was born. And he looked at my grandma and he said, "Nanny," he said, "Mama, take care of that little boy. I can't go. I can't hang on anymore. I can't hold out. You know, I'm gone."
now this nanny, was this nanny an older person or what? What was the nanny to you?
My nanny was my grandma, so his great grandma. She was.
It's your grandma. Oh my goodness, how sad is that?
Yeah.
How sad is that?
My papa died in 2005. My son was born. He died Mother's Day weekend, and my son was born in July of that year.
Yeah.
And she lived till 2018 with my son, and they were like 2 peas in a pod. And,
wow.
My son was feeling yesterday.
I feel for you. I feel for you. If I was there, I'd put an arm around you. I'm sorry because this is a story I like to tell everybody. If I take a moment here, Danielle, that all you listeners out there is that these are real people. We're all real people in this world. And it's sad where family members I had a case where my in-laws were reporting things were not true, and I had to fight them for 5 years. And then CPS got involved and took my 3 of my young children, and one of them never was getting back. She was brainwashed, and she divorced us, and she changed her name and sealed her birth certificate. So I know what it is to lose someone. I know what it is about grandparents. And it's so sad because right now, even though my children returned, my wife and I are 32 years. We are so distant. And then on top of that, our kids are not the same. Even though they returned, they've been so messed up by CPS, by the abuse they received in foster care, by the abuse they received in group home, and by the abuse they received in shelter. I had the only thing in my life that I was going through at the time was I had lost a job through no fault of my own. I was 60 years old, and the state of California was going bankrupt. And they wrote me IOUs for contract work I had with them to do roads and highways. And they said, "Well, we'll have you do the work, but not right now." And I said, "I can't hold on." I had to close my general contracting. And at age 60, not too many people are standing in line to hire you. And, I'm 74 now, still looking for work. I have found work in the past, but they lay you off because you're too old. They say they're not supposed to be age discriminating, but they do. They do. When they find out how old they are, they're really mean about it. And they use the excuse, "Oh, we have no more work to give you." That's how they lay you off. They say we have no more work. And I know the industry is really busy and so forth. It's just for them, for whatever reasons they are. But I feel for you because, families is very important. Go ahead.
I didn't see how corrupt this part of because I've never had to deal with anything like this. But now that I'm going through it, it's like, wow. And I tell you, I'm going to school to get my bachelor's. Well, I was going to get my bachelor's in information technology, but I've changed it to a bachelor in human services because of all this. And I want to learn, I've been studying their policies and procedures, their ways. And there's people that know me. I mean, the news down here did a news story on Georgia kids being sent out of Georgia to other facilities to get help, but yet they bring in other states' kids, and the federal funding is they get more money for out-of-state kids when they come to our state. And like my son you have to watch the video, and it's crazy how it goes down like that. It's nuts.
I'll find a video. I'll find the video. I pretty much know what to look for.
It's on Atlanta News First for Atlanta, and it's I can I could paste the link here in the thing.
No, it's fine.
If it'll go in the comments.
It's fine, Danielle, because I can find it because all I do is have to Google Atlanta news and children being sent out of state, and it'll pop up. It'll pop up.
Like mental health. Yep.
It'll help out there.
Danielle and Alex, and and you'll see, and that the aunt you'll see in the picture. She's even blowing up my phone right now. Whew. But as a matter of fact, they probably went out to her house today to finish up everything, and that's why she's calling me, because they haven't invited me to nothing. And I was told don't hinder. Like, I don't want to do nothing that's gonna stop him from coming home. But once he gets home, I'm going to do what I need to do to handle, like, where they violated my rights. Period. Like, 'cause this is crazy.
I know. Well, you're supposed to have a represented by a attorney in all aspects of law. So that's why they give you a public defender, but they're really lackadaisical about doing so, because they give someone that has 20 case loads and they give it to you at the last minute, no time for prep. And
I have text messages, emails. I mean, I have phone calls. I have all kinds of, like, I can even, like, when I've got the timeline down, but even the guardian ad litem has not talked to me ever. He saw me one time and that was it. I didn't even really meet him. But, and how am I supposed to work this case plan or whatever it is if I can't attend my son's monthly meetings, And,
yes.
And how am I mean, that's the only thing that, in my eyes, on the court adjudication or whatever for the case plan, or that's what that was, because I never really got a case plan. The caseworker met with me one time and that was it. From my understanding, we're supposed to be like attached at the hip. Like, that's what that paper said. This paper that I got from the courthouse. And I mean, something I've read, that we're supposed to be attached at the hip pretty much. And no, it's like once they found out that I was around, it was so different. Like, it was weird. I knew something was up, and because I know the legalities of things and what's supposed to, and I've read their policies, and it's wrong. But see, what saved me with him is the fact that he turned 18, because they can't put me out of his life after 18, So my girls, because really all this was my aunt throwing my son away, and she wanted me to lose rights to my girls. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. Now that my mother's dead, now that my mother's passed. So it's funny how greed and self. But I have my middle brother that's disabled and special needs. He's probably actually listening to the show right now. I take care of him. He's actually here. He's in my care since 2016. So, I already take care of a disabled person, and him and my son are like two peas in a pod,
Wow.
And I'm very able to take care of, but I just don't, and I don't, this the nunc pro tunc is what gets me. How can they backdate something? Because they are trying to say they.
I'll look that up. I'll look that up. Is this in CPS?
You never heard of that?
No. Is this in CPS matters?
Yeah, it's on my court order. Like, I'm fine. Let me pull that back out. That's what I meant to do. The nunc pro tunc. I'll read you what it is they went in and they changed. I have a lot. Paper trail. If I have any advice for anybody, document everything. A paper trail and write notes. I have so many notes. During this whole process, I've even taught myself to write with my left hand because I write so many notes. And document everything. Pictures, screenshots. I have so much. I could lay it out but it's crazy how they just think that they could do so much damage to somebody that people don't deserve this. These are families and all it is money. They want money. They see money.
Yeah, it is a $1 billion business, and that's what's happened. And they have no
it's
accountability. They have no
sad.
accountability, so they can do what they please.
I even had, I don't know if you know the U.S. Senator John Ossoff. He
No.
even contacted DFAC and told them, and like that big investigation thing that's going on down here in Georgia.
Yeah.
And he told on November 28th, that the subcommittee told DFAC that they need to get my son back to Georgia. And look, we're here and it's March now, and he still ain't back. But they told John Ossoff that they had satisfactorily resolved the concern of mine when they did. Like it's yeah, because I even got because on the complaint, I guess is when they took him in when he entered. Like when he says taken into custody, yes. 11/7/2022. Person notified Marie Watt. I think what they did was they got me and my mom confused. They had my mom as his biological mother, and that's what they. I mean, there's a lot. There's so many. I just don't know what kind of lawyer to talk to about, like, because it would end up being a lawsuit, I would say, or holding them accountable and sanctioning, motion, something.
Well, in order to do a lawsuit, you got to make sure your case is closed.
I'm pretty sure that because right now, I mean, if they're not, what are they gonna do? Okay, so if they're gonna let my aunt try to get guardianship, right? And because they haven't contacted me about none of this, right? But me and my aunt, I go to the pro court to go file the petition for the adult guardianship for my son next week. No, it's in April, the first week in April, and if they are, I mean, but they're being really like pushy with my aunt. Like I've never seen this move so fast. Like with me, they weren't doing nothing like what they're doing for my aunt, and they want to base it off drugs. Well, what do you mean drugs? I mean, you're going by hearsay. Like, prove it. Like,
I found the video from Atlanta. I found that thing, and I'm still having trouble finding this terminology you're using. Can you spell that out for me?
Protunc, it's NUNC space PRO.
Wait. I'm back at the beginning. NUNC
and then it's space P as in Papa, R as in Romeo, O as in Oscar, space, and then Tunk, T as in Tom, U as in umbrella, M as in Michael, C as in cat.
Okay.
And yeah.
I think the first one I may have spelled wrong. Is it spelled N-U-M? N as in Nancy.
No, N as in Nemo. Yeah.
Right. U. Two N's. Oh, N-N.
Yep, N-U-N-C. Yep. No. N-U-N-C. Like
okay.
Nemo, umbrella, Nemo, cat. Yeah.
Hold on. I'll get there. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Because I've never heard of, and what I understand from this Protunc thing, it's for typos, like clerical errors, not judicial errors. They have used it too much in my case to go back and fix their mess up, their screw up.
Well, this is what it is called. This phrase has referred to the power of the court, all common law, to decree that order will have a retroactive effect. This is unusual power. Generally, court order takes effect on the date of its pronunciation, whether pronounced orally to the parties in court or by written decision. So, yeah, what does...
Like here, they did a Protunc on, okay, so this was supposed to be a court date, so that was February 6th, but on July 7th, they said it is so ordered this 7th day of July, Protunc for February 6th. So they went back, and it's like in July, they went back and changed, And
What it is,
that's messed up.
it is a doctrine that permits a court to change records so they show actually what happened.
And it's not true. What they're doing is they're trying to fix their mess up because they know they screwed up, but they still.
Well, here's the example they give. Here's the example. If a party files his motion on January 5th, but the clerk's office erroneous treated as filed on January 6th, the judge could correct the records to show the right date.
So, but these are months off, though. Like this, if this was like, I got two orders right here. Hold on. I got the protective removal order, custody hearing, and finding of no reasonable effort that they nunc-pro-tunc, and they did that February 27th. They nunc-pro-tunked it for November 10th, 2022.
Yeah, I tell you what, Danielle, I'm running out of time here. I need to thank everybody, but I want you to call in again. Nothing to be sorry about. I feel for you. I hurt for you. I know what you're going through. It's really sad. I want to thank all the people that have called in: Colette Lopes, Faye Murray, and Daniel yourself, who is our guest today. Faye,
I'm gonna help whoever I can.
Yeah, Faye, Lauren Vaughn, and Jessica was the last person that called in. I want all of you to, if you want to be on my show, to email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. If you want an attorney for 30 minutes, you call in at 888-888-6582. He'll talk about the strategies of fighting CPS, how to get your children back for $49.49. That's 30 minutes. And I want you all.
Wondered he could talk to me for 30 minutes.
Yeah, like he would if you paid his consultation fee of $49.99. And so I'm telling you all right now is that keep fighting for your kids. Don't give up. I know the horror stories. I know I'll get to be on tonight, and I'll see you all tonight. So God bless you. Good luck in the new year. Much success. And again, thank you all. And I feel for you. I care about you. This is Bob